Hello everyone and welcome back to Tomb Tower. When we last left off, we just finished exploring Tomb Tower where we did nothing. Nothing that we saved anyway. We're going to head to the hardest level of the graveyard, which is weird because it's the one labeled level 3, but we're going to do these in order because they're numbered for a reason. Even if it's not very clear what that reason is. It's certainly not in order of difficulty. You can't actually see the number of the level from the outside. You can see the name, but not the number. So I wonder why they bothered showing you the number when you actually enter the level. It's not like you're going to reset your PlayStation and go, shit, I fucked up. Especially since the hub world means the game is meant to be non-linear in the first place, right? Or maybe they just expected you to go back to certain levels. Something we want to do in a lot of levels is immediately check behind us as soon as we start. Because there's always shit just standing right behind us. Because they think, oh, they'll never look back here. But there's a whole gateway back here with a ton of extras. And over to the left of this building is a skeleton with a key. This level is all about keys. We're going to find so many. And yes, that skeleton does always have a key in it, so if you needed extra keys, you could always come back here. Because there are a lot of keys in this level in very predictable places. We're going to go to the left first. Because there's less stuff to the left than the right. This skeleton's a bit tougher than the ones we fought so far. He takes 2 hits from our quick attack to knock over. And when he's on the ground, we need to ground stab him. I'm also trying to avoid this crow. I tried to kill it at first, but it was too good. It's too swift. You'll see what crows do later, or maybe you won't if I'm fortunate enough. I'm sure you remember the armor invincibility from the first level. It's very useful here because this is a long corridor with a lot of enemies in it. And that axe-throwing guy might have hit us while we were distracted with that weaker enemy. That was probably the intention, but with armor invincibility we didn't even have to worry about it. But like I said, armor invincibility won't always be around. We got the shield throw ability a second time, but that doesn't stack or anything, so it's just useless. We do want these extra coins, though, for reasons I've already made very clear. And we picked up a Grim coin earlier by smashing one of these tombstones. As I said, they act as continues, but you need more of them each time you die, because it keeps raising the price. Keep in mind as we exit this place that this entire area was optional. This game does really encourage exploration if you want to find all the neat stuff, all the fun stuff. But you could also just ignore it and head straight through if you really wanted to. I find it's a mix that would probably appeal to both people that like exploring and those who just want to platform really hard. This church has a bell on it that we unfortunately can't activate with our sword. That would have been a neat extra, though, if it worked. I still like the idea of this church being used as a platform and floating in lava. That's a really neat set piece. There's a gate over here, over this pit of lava, and as you might have guessed, it will push us into the lava if we don't time our jump carefully. Or if we're really lucky, it'll just push us back onto the platform, but we can't always be that lucky, can we? We have an extra key sitting around, so why not see what's in here? It's a fire emblem, which allows us to power up our sword with the element of fire, which means we now deal extra damage to most enemies. Most of them. We won't see enemies that we won't hurt very much with this until way later in the game. Up here we need to survey, after we kill this guy, we need to survey the area carefully. There's an axe guy over there who should be our first priority. Because if we don't take him out first, then he'll snipe at us while we're dealing with this guy and the zombie. Determining which order you take out the enemies in is a big part of combat in this game, so try to keep that in mind. Or rather, don't, because I'll be keeping it in mind for you. But it'd be nice if you did it also. We could work together. A skeleton will spawn out of this zombified pathway, but we can't fight him on it for obvious reasons. So we need to lure him over here. But we have to act quickly or else he'll hit us while we're jumping around. He drops the key, and there's another key just sitting here for us. Like I said, this level is all about keys. And with that, we now have enough keys to open everything in our surroundings, so let's check over here first. And inside this door is another chest that requires a key. Splendid. And we do want this armor, because we're going to go in that gate, that locked gate, which is, of course, going to have a ton of enemies in a small space. Not as many, though, that's for sure. I like that, that changing the color of our armor with the armor invincibility also... Oh, we got a new power-up. Now we can do 2 quick swings in a row. It's really useful if you just want to get enemies the hell away from you very fast. Very useful for desperation tactics. Not much else, though. This mystery item is just a different color of boxers, so it's not really worth it. It's a completely aesthetic change. You won't see our boxers until we get hit badly enough. Our armor slowly peels off as we take damage. This is some of the most harrowing platforming in the first world. You have to wait until these flumes of fire pass by, but they also obscure your vision. Like that. So you have to memorize where you're going to jump ahead of time. And here's a 1-up on a very precarious platform. But you can use your double jump at any time after your first jump, as long as you haven't hit the ground yet, which makes it very easy. If you're wondering when our fire sword runs out of ammo, so to speak... Oh, also, here's an enemy spawner. It spawns enemies infinitely until we kill it. But if you're wondering when our fire sword runs out of power, look at that red circle next to our health bar, those little notches. Those determine how many times we can hit something with our fire sword before it turns back to a regular sword. Jumping onto a platform with a throwing axe enemy is always tricky business. You want to wait until after he throws it, but not too late after he throws it, or else it'll hit you on its way back. That chest back there that we ignored had another fire power-up in it, which was useless because that skeleton dropped one, and we already had one. So it'd be a complete waste of a key. We can only hit this guy from down here if we double jump. Otherwise he blocks us. These coffins sticking out of the platforms are a little handy if we feel skittish about making a jump that big. But we can totally make a jump that big, as you just saw. We want to quickly pass the totem so that way we don't get pelted with skulls as we fight that enemy. Otherwise we take way more damage than we needed to. This zombie takes more hits than the red shield and sword guys, because he's blue. Still not that many hits thanks to our fire sword, but we won't always have that. Other than him taking more hits, he functions the same. The zombies also only take 1 heavy attack now instead of 2. Enemies are sorted by color so you know how tough they are. But the zombies don't get a different color, they're just always zombies. Oh, move too early. Those drills deal way too much damage. We still got another shield throw power-up, which we do not want. We already have that. Now you see the fires obscuring our view when we have to move onto smaller platforms, which is way more dangerous, because this lava is an instant kill. This is the key unlocking room. It's where we need to use keys to unlock a lot of doors, and we have to find out which door contains the big key to the golden door. Or the golden gate, rather. Now, I know... As I was about to say... I know there's a ghost that hides inside that big building in the center, but he always seems to catch me off guard. In an interesting twist, this infinite enemy spawner only seems to spawn 2 enemies before disappearing. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if that's a glitch, but it happens consistently. And I make the mistake of thinking all the enemies are gone, but there was one right behind me. If I would have been listening carefully, I could hear it waddle. Now we're back to our normal armor. But that's still a lot of armor. We'll be fine. Just need to be way more careful with how we observe our surroundings in the future. There are 3 doors in this room that we can use normal keys on, but only one of them contains the big key. It's not this one. This one just has a couple of extra enemies. It does give us another key to make up for the one we just used, though. Or rather, 3 extra enemies. I'm bad at counting enemies today. This one also doesn't contain the golden key. Instead, it has a chest. How handy. So that only leaves one room left. You wouldn't figure it'd be the big room because that's too obvious, but it definitely is. There's also a ghost in here, in case you forgot. Because they can disappear through walls, it's really stressful trying to figure out where they're coming from, but the shield throw ability makes it easier. And up here's a new enemy type. We can stun him from far away with our shield, before we go in for the kill. His spear deals massive damage to our armor. So we want to watch out for him. This room has a lot of tombstones, and a bird. So just in case you thought the game was being nice to you by giving you this many tombstones, it wants to let you know it's always watching. We've made a whole of almost 250 coins now. That's plenty enough to save our progress, and some left over for a couple of other levels. As you saw, these drills do deal a lot of damage, so we want to hit them before we walk forward. 2 axe enemies. We want to take out the one that's furthest away, for obvious reasons, I'm sure. Then we can come back and get the other one. This time the platforms move up and down, but no matter what position they're in, you'll always be able to make the jump. So don't get stressed out. For this upcoming area, though, we want to walk around the building before we take out that fellow with the spear. Because a ton of enemies spawn at his sides. Like this axe enemy, and this skeleton. So if we just rushed straight for the guy with the spear, we would get mobbed from all directions. Hence, we're going to walk around the circle first. Because look at all these enemies, it's ridiculous. Granted, not all of them would spawn to attack us at the same time. But at least a couple of them would. And a couple of extra axe enemies is all you need to lose units of your armor. Like I said, study your surroundings carefully. Alright, now I think we can take out the fellow. Oh, nope, not yet. See, did you see how many enemies would have spawned to hit us if we were careless? Don't be careless. Even more enemies will spawn inside the building, but we want to lure them outside so we can actually see what they're doing and have room to maneuver. It would be bad if we were stuck in there with these guys. We keep getting shield pickups, which refills our shield's health so it can take more damage. That's not something to complain about, though.